Hi, my name is Leandro Facchinetti, and let's write some code together, shall we? What we have on the menu today is part 3 of this series of streams in which I am developing a new application from scratch. The application is called Notestrator. It's a working title. The app is an Electron app, a desktop app, written in JavaScript / maybe TypeScript in the near future. And what this application allows you to do is to draw on top of your screen, which is useful if you're streaming or if you are an educator and you are teaching over Zoom or something like that, or you're giving a presentation, that kind of thing. And specifically, it was designed to be used with a tablet like this one. So you have a tablet and you are giving a presentation and you want to draw on top of your computer screen, maybe to draw some arrows between things or draw a quick diagram. And that's what Notestrator is going to allow you to do. And to begin with, Notestrator will only have a freehand tool because it's meant to be used with one of these tablets. And at this point in this series of streams, what we have is a very simple Electron app. I don't know much about Electron, so I've been learning along the way. And we started with the template that Electron gives you to a get started app. We got rid of everything we didn't need, and then we added some things we would need. And we, at this point, have two windows, two browser windows, and we can npm start to see the application as it is right now. So we have this window, which will be our menu, and so far we only have different colors. And then in this screen is the main screen where we can draw. And we did this drawing engine too. So we are doing everything from scratch, including the drawing engine. We are just using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript here. And the plan is that this drawing engine will be based on SVGs, so it will be vector-based, which is different from every other drawing engine I could find on the web. They were all based on the HTML5 element canvas, and they have some internal data structures to represent the drawing, and then the canvas is just to show the drawing. But I wanted to have maybe the SVG be the data structure storing the drawing information. So that's why I wanted to start this drawing engine from scratch. Not that it's really necessary for our application. As far as I can tell, a canvas could be transparent and it could just work. I think that other applications in this space, in fact, are using canvas. But I wanted to try this different idea. And the menu here is working, so I can select different colors, and then I will draw in the different colors. So to make this work, last time, it was on Tuesday, we did this thing that allows different windows to communicate. So these are different browser windows, and they communicate through the main process in Electron. So we learned how to do that. And the plan for today is, well, we have so many things to do, so I guess I'm going to just spin a little bit of the plates here and there. Since Tuesday, I did read on the Electron documentation just a bit, so I know a little bit more about how Electron works. So I thought I could do some Electron work here and maybe have this window be full size. We'll see if we can make this window full screen. I did not actually test to see what the full screen capabilities in Electron would look like. And we can also work on the styles here because we want this menu to look in a particular way, and we want more features in the menu like the stroke width and an eraser, that kind of thing. So there are all these different things we can work on. We can work on making the menu look better. We can work on the window, so some Electron work. And we can also work on new features like stroke width and more interestingly, the eraser. Because the eraser is kind of like a drawing engine kind of thing. So that's something else that we can work on. I want to start with the things that I know the least about, which will be fun, which is the Electron stuff. Because making this look better is probably something that I think that I know how to do, because it's only HTML and CSS. But to make this window full screen, we have to learn more about Electron, which I think is more fun. So What I have here in front of me is the Electron documentation for browser window. When we start our app, we create two browser windows, one for the drawing area, so this, and another one for the menu. And the reason why I want this is that ultimately I think that this drawing area needs to be full screen, and the menu I think needs to be draggable. You want to move it around. So I wanted this to have to be different browser windows. I suppose I could do it with just one browser window, but I think it would be more annoying. And also there are some issues that I haven't really fully investigated, but I think that if you have a window that you want to be clicked through, which is our case here, so we want to have a state in which the drawing is on the screen, and the screen here will not have a white background, it will be transparent. So we would like to interact with the underlying application, so maybe Visual Studio Code, which is sitting behind the Notestrator window, and we would like to interact with Visual Studio Code while keeping Notestrator, the drawing, visible. So we want to toggle the visibility, we want to toggle the clickability of this window. We want it to be clicked through sometimes and not clicked through some other times, but the menu is never clicked through. So to make that work, I think that the easiest way is to have two different browser windows. As far as I can tell, it's easy to make a window click through or not, but it's super hard to make part of a window click through. So there you go. Now we have here the docs for browser window, and I just started searching for full screen. I did that a couple minutes before I started streaming, and there are some full screen stuff here. And let's play around with this and see what it does. Ideally, it will not do, at least in macOS, it will not do the default thing in macOS that happens when you click this green button to enter full screen. Because if you have several windows and you enter full screen, it becomes its own space, like this. And here is our browser in full screen and then all the rest of our windows. But we don't want that behavior. What we want is for the app to occupy the whole screen, but to be on top of whatever is on the screen. But let's try this one. So I think that this one will do the thing that the green button does. So here is our main window. We'll say full screen true, and then because we are changing not the HTML and CSS, but the JavaScript that orchestrates Electron, I will have to restart the application. Now you can see that what happened here is exactly what I don't want to happen. So it became its own space. So that's not the thing we are looking for. And now that I have this, yeah, I can close the window. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Full screenable. Now, this is just whether you want the green button to exist. That's not it. So maybe simple full screen. Let's see what that looks like. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't seem to. So maybe it has to do with the size of the screen. So I was resizing the screen like this. So maybe if I don't set the width and the height, but I say simple full screen true, then maybe it will be full screen. No. Use pre-Lion full screen on macOS. Default is false. So maybe I have to say full screen and simple full screen. Okay, so that's more like it. Now the thing is on top, I can draw, and the thing is on top of every other window, including it's on top of the menu. That's kind of weird. But it's closer to the thing we are looking for. Whether to show the window in taskbar. No. Whether the window is in kiosk mode. Okay, what would that look like? Okay, so kiosk mode will get me... I may have done something that I don't want, because kiosk mode put me in a separate space, but I cannot interact with anything that would normally take me to other spaces. So I can draw, but I'm locked into this mode. At least I can hit Command Q to quit the application, but kiosk mode took me to a separate space, so that's not what I want. Oh, I guess, so with the simple full screen stuff, I'm getting near what I want. It occupies the whole screen, but I still don't want this bar on top. I believe that to get rid of it, we actually already saw these docs in our, I guess, our first stream on Monday. And I found these options that would allow me to put a transparent screen, and it wouldn't have a frame, so it wouldn't have that decoration on top. So maybe if I put all these options together, maybe, hopefully, I will have something on top of the screen. So now I think that we have a transparent window on top of everything, and I can draw on top of everything. Okay, so that's not bad. It's getting near what we want the app to look like. The only thing is that it got rid, it collapsed this menu bar. Can I draw on top of the menu bar? Not quite. I can draw, but if I put the menu bar, it sits on top of my drawing. Also, the drawing doesn't seem natural, and there is a drop shadow going on. So I don't know why there is a drop shadow. I think it's just by default, every window in macOS will have a drop shadow. So maybe there is some way for me to remove that drop shadow. Let's see. Shadow. Has shadow. Whether Windows should have a shadow. Default is true, but no. I want this to be false. Okay. But now I can no longer draw on the window. That's weird. Okay, I can draw, but only small segments. I don't know. That was weird. Okay, so as I was drawing before, I was kind of feeling the application was sluggish. So maybe it was because of calculating all the drop shadow on all my forms. But now that I disabled the shadow, and that's another reason why I wanted to disable the shadow, I had the suspicion that the performance issue was because of the drop shadow. And also, of course, I don't want the drop shadow. But yeah, so disabling the drop shadow does seem to affect the performance. It seems snappier. Of course, if I do something really wide and fast, then you can sort of see the line segments, and we'll have to think about this. So you can clearly see a line segment here, and that is a segment between one occurrence of a mouse move event and another occurrence of a mouse move event. So I will need some sort of algorithm to smooth out this kind of curve. And there is another issue. The issue is that it seems like my drawing area has a limited size. So the thing is in full screen, sort of weirdly, but it has the default size. So we probably need to set here the width and the height. We need to set this to the resolution of my display. And also we need to figure out this whole situation with the menu bar. Okay, so let's work on the width and height, because I think that will be easy. I hope that will be easy. Let's look for width. When setting minimum and maximum window size, it seems like you can set the window size like that, but I don't want the thing to be resizable. So we can say whether the thing is resizable or not. And by default, the window will be resizable, but do I need to set this? Maybe I don't, because I don't want the window to be resizable, movable, minimizable, maximizable, closable, focusable. I don't want any of these. I will want to control this behavior programmatically via keystrokes. I do want it to be always on top, so probably I need to go over all these options and see all the ones that I want. But I was thinking about width and height. Maybe there will be some sort of full screen option that will set the width and the height. Oh, maybe not. It's not the width and the height of the window. Yeah, so maybe the width and the height over here is okay, because the window does seem to take the full screen. When we had a white background, it was over the full screen. So maybe the issue is not the window, but our HTML has a script in there. This is the menu. Let's go to the app itself. So this is the canvas where you draw. And the SVG here has this hard-coded size. Yeah, so that's not what we want. We don't want to hard code this size. We want the SVG to occupy the whole screen. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to put a style background color of tomato, and I'm going to run the app. And the reason why I do this is that now I can see the size of the SVG, and the window, I believe, is full screen. So I can click here, and I'm not interacting with Visual Studio Code. So I'm interacting with my Notestrator window, but my SVG here has this hard-coded size. So what I want to do is change this. So if I think that if I don't set width and height, then this will take the whole area of the body. Or maybe it will go with the default size for an SVG. Let's see. Oh no, it's taking the full area of the body. So it's taking now the full screen, and I can draw on top of the whole screen. The problem now is that the coordinates don't really match where I am drawing. So my mouse and my line are not in sync. And that is probably because of the view box. We are saying that the view box has this fixed size, but if I remove the view box, then I don't know what happens. Oh, so now it is small, but the coordinates match. So maybe if I don't have a view box, it doesn't occupy the whole screen. But I can use CSS to say width of 100 view widths and height of 100 view heights, like that. And now it takes the whole screen, and my drawing is in sync with my cursor. Okay, that seems good. Now I don't need the background tomato anymore. So now I have a transparent window, and I can select that window, and I can draw on top of my whole screen. Cool stuff. I like this. I can even draw on top of the menu, which is sort of weird, but I believe I can select the menu using a keyboard shortcut, and then I can select another color and then my window again. So yeah, we are getting closer. Let's go back to the dock. So I guess we don't need width and height. It's being picked up by the fact that we want the thing to be full screen. Now let's briefly look at all the options we have here and see the ones that we want to play with. So width and height we don't want to play with because it will just be full screen. X and Y, same story, we want the window to be full screen, so it will be on the top left always. Use content size, no. Center, no. Min and max dimensions, no. Resizable. So that's an interesting thing. Is the window resizable? I do have another app installed. I just use it regularly. It's called Rectangle app. And what it does is resize windows. So I can do things like this. Now, depending on the window, depending on the app, this application behaves differently. So I wonder what it would look like if I try to run the app. I guess, you know what I'm gonna do while we are testing this, it's always useful to see something on the drawing area. So I guess I will have, after all, a background of maybe tomato, and I will put some opacity of 50%. So now the application is not 100% opaque, so I will be able to see what's behind it, and it will give me the feel of the application, but I will have a color on the background so I can see the drawing area. And now I'm running the app. I have the canvas selected. I can draw. But what happens when I use rectangle to resize the window? It resizes, but then it goes back. So even if we don't say that we want to disable, what do we want to disable? Even if we don't say that we want to disable resizability, Electron is taking care of that for us. There is one wrinkle. So you can see that it flashes, it resizes and then resizes back. And that's perfectly acceptable. The problem is if I try to put it on the upper half of the screen, then it doesn't return to the full screen. Now this part where the menu bar would be, it's not being occupied by my canvas. You can even see the drawing move. So if I make the app full screen, you can see the drawing, it goes up to this point, and then it doesn't go up to that point anymore. So maybe there is a small wrinkle here, or maybe if we solve whatever issue we have with the menu bar, that will go away as well. But I want to keep track of this for later, just in case we have to play with this. So I'll leave this here as a comment for us to investigate later. Now, whether the thing is movable, I guess the same thing applies, right? I mean, there could be apps that would try to move the window around, but I think that resizability is even a bigger concern. But I'll keep track of this as well. So we may want to care. We may care about movability. Minimizability, whether this is not implemented in Linux, whether the window is minimizable. By default, it's true. So let's play with, so there is a keyboard shortcut in macOS for me to minimize something. It's Command M. Also, I can come here to the menu bar and minimize. But let's see. So if I hit Command M, it does not minimize. And if I say minimize, it does not minimize. So it seems like putting the app in full screen already takes care of this. So I don't care about minimize. And the same is true of maximizable. I'm already using full screen stuff, so I don't think this is something to worry about. Now, whether the window is closable, that's interesting. To close a window, what I would normally do is have the window in focus and hit Command W. And it does close the window. And now I am in this weird state. So maybe I can say that not minimizable, but closable. Maybe I want to say closable false. When I select the window and I say Command W, now it doesn't work anymore. And I guess that's good because we want this window to live forever. We will have keyboard shortcuts for us to hide the drawing or reset the drawing or make the drawing click through or whatever, but we don't want the user to be able to close this window. We will do that programmatically. So if you close the app, the window will go away. And if you want to hide the window, okay, you can hide the window, but the window should live from when we start the application and then forever on. Oh. Okay, so that's weird. When I have closable false, Command Q doesn't close the application anymore. How do I close this app now? I can't. How can I go to another app? Okay. Is it the fault of closable? I think it is. Yeah. So if I have closable false, then it's not that the window is not closable. It's the app. The app is no longer closable by normal means, which I guess is okay, because by the end of the day, here we have the app here on the dock. That's the default. We started with the getting started template, so that's what we get. But eventually, we think that the application should be here on the menu bar. So I guess it's okay if you cannot quit the application with Command Q. I am fine with this. I can always, in development, come back here and Control C to close it. So closable I do want. Focusable. Whether the window can be focused. Default is true. Yeah, I want the window to be focusable. In fact, I want it to be in focus when you start drawing. So yeah, focusable. I do want that to be true, and by default it is true. Always on top. Whether the window should always stay on top of other windows. So now I'm gonna play with fire because I want the thing to always be on top. If you have the app running, I don't want you to be able to Command Tab to some other app. So I guess I want it to always be on top. But the problem here is that I had closable false. So if I do the combination of these two settings, I may lock myself out and be just completely unable to stop this. If that's the case, then I want to have some way to get out of this. I guess I will always be able to hit Command Control Escape to open the task manager, or is it Command Option Escape? So I think that this is at a higher level. So force quit applications is an operating system thing. So I guess I will always be able to force quit the app. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe I will have to, like, I don't know, restart the computer or whatever. Wish me luck. Okay, so the app is running. It is on top. I cannot quit it from here. If I try to Command Tab, then it seems like focus does go to, oh, look at that. That's fun. So the focus is no longer on the drawing app. Now the focus is on Visual Studio Code. I can play around with Visual Studio Code. And you can see here on the top of the menu bar that I am in Visual Studio Code, but the window is always on top. I believe that is correct. That's the behavior I want. And I am able to hit Control C to stop the app. I didn't lock myself out. Awesome. So full screen, full screenable, simple full screen, and taskbar. Oh, and no, just these three. We already looked at those. Skip taskbar. Whether to show the window in taskbar. Default is false. I believe this has to do with Windows stuff, and we'll talk about Windows in a future stream. Kiosk, we already looked at that. Title, default window title. Default is Electron. If the HTML tag title is defined in the HTML file loaded by load URL, this property will be ignored. And this is the case. We do have a title over here. So I will ignore this. Icon, the window icon. On Windows, it is recommended to use ICO icons to get best visual results. You can also leave it undefined, so the executables icon will be used. Yeah, eventually we will have an icon for the app, so yeah, that's good. And I don't think that the icon will even show up in most places. Maybe it will show up in places like this, but then it will be the app icon, so yeah. Whether to show the window, we want that. Paint when initially hidden. Whether the renderer should be active when show is false. Oh, actually, we have to think about this. What do you want to happen when you start the app? Maybe we don't want the window to show right away. Maybe we want the window to show when you... So we want the window to exist. That I know for sure. But we may want to hide the window. So maybe we want to say show false, so that when you start the app, the window is hidden, and then it will be a menu bar thing, and then you would click on maybe start drawing, or you would hit a command, a keyboard shortcut, and then the window would pop up. But I want to comment this out for now, for development. So paint when initially hidden. Whether the renderer should be active when show is false, and it has just been created. In order for document visibility state to work correctly on first load with show false, you should set this to false. Setting this to false will cause the ready to blah blah, the default is true. I don't know, this seems too advanced. It doesn't seem to matter that much. If we run into issues, then we'll get back here. So frame, specify false to create a frameless window, default is true. Well, we want the window to be frameless, so this one is already false. Parent, specify parent window. Okay, that's interesting. Do we want the menu to be a child of the main thing? So maybe we do, because there is this weird situation here where we have the menu is sort of hidden. Yeah, and as of now, I cannot even interact with the menu. So I cannot even change my color because the menu is hidden. What would happen if we made the menu a child of the drawing area? Let's explore this idea in a minute. Let's explore that idea. What happens if I have parent, not of this one actually, not the main window, but the menu window will have a parent, which is the main window. What does that do? What does it mean for a window to be a child of another window? Oh, awesome. It does exactly what we need. So now, because it is a child, it stays on top. So we can interact with it. Even though this drawing area is always on top, this is a child, so it stays even on top of that. And we are able to interact with that. So that seems very much like the thing that I want. I'm getting very happy with the results here. This seems super nice. Now model. Whether this is a modal window, this only works when the window is a child window. Default is false. So let's see what this does. We are now making the menu a model. Ooh, nice. But it is resizable. I cannot move it around. It stays on top of everything. So yeah, I don't think I want that to be a model. Accept first mouse. Whether the web view accepts a single mouse down event that simultaneously activates the window. Default is false. So I guess this has to do with something that I was feeling while I was trying it out. So the issue here is I have, and I don't think this is an issue anymore because now this is always on top. But if I had something else in focus, like this. Now I have Visual Studio Code in focus. And my window is always on top. You can see the tomato color. So if I start just drawing, previously, before I had some of the other settings, it would not draw. It would give focus to the window, and then I would have to start drawing. But now it seems like it doesn't really matter which application is in focus. Now Chrome is in focus, but I am able to just start drawing. So it seems like this accept first mouse, which is false by default, but I don't think I need it. But just to be sure, I will take note of it. So accept first mouse something that we may want to look at. Disable auto hide cursor. Whether to hide the cursor when typing. We don't type, at least not for now. In the future, we may have a component that is not freehand drawing, but text. If that is the case, then we may want to look at this, but whatever. So auto hide menu bar. Auto hide the menu bar unless the Alt key is pressed. Default is false. Well, it's saying that it's not auto hiding the menu bar, but because I have the full screen situation here, it is hiding the menu bar, which is one of the things we want to avoid. So auto hide menu bar, false, which should be the default, but I am in this special situation. So let's see. When I do this, it doesn't take effect. It doesn't do anything. It's still hiding the menu bar here on the top. So no, I don't want auto hide menu bar, false. Enable larger than screen. Enable the window to be resized larger than screen, only relevant for macOS, as other OSs allow larger than screen by default. Well, we are in full screen, so I don't think you can resize, and therefore you cannot try to resize it to be larger than screen. So I don't care about this one. Background color, that is Windows background color as hexadecimal, but we are making it transparent, so don't care about background color. Has shadow, we played with this on our one already, so has shadow is false. Opacity, this is only implemented in Windows and macOS, okay, but opacity is the opacity of the window, and I want this to be fully opaque, so okay. Forces using dark theme for Windows only works on some GTK plus 3 desktop environments. Default is false. I don't want to force anything. I want to be able to pick this up from CSS. So if I have a style tag and I have media of prefers color scheme of dark, then how about we don't do this on the drawing part of the application? Let's do this on the menu. So if I have something like this, then I can say something like body has a background color of pink. And let's start the app. And let's go here and change. Oh, I guess I have to do that just with keyboard shortcuts because I cannot click on the thing. Otherwise, I will click on my window or on the Notestrator window and it will capture the focus. But let's see if I can go to dark mode just by using the keyboard. No, I don't know how to do that. So let me stop the application and I will put another color here. So if I am in dark mode, then I will see it in pink. Otherwise, I will see the background color in blue. That is just to make sure that the background color is even showing in the first place. And it is. So the background color here is blue. Now let's stop the app and restart it with dark mode enabled. So let's enable dark mode. Start the app and it should be pink. And it is pink. Okay, so I am able to get the dark mode situation from CSS. I don't need to set it over here. Let me switch back to light mode. I think light mode works better on the stream. It's just my thing. I tend to use both light and dark mode. Transparent makes the window transparent, and there is something about transparent windows. Yeah, I will probably have to learn more about this reading the API for frameless windows in the future, but transparent is something that we are already using. And we don't need that here. Oh, something that I should have been doing was to think about all these settings for the menu window as well, because for one thing, the menu is resizable, which is probably something that I don't want. So we have to go over the list again. but that's fine. Okay, so the type of the window, default is normal. See more about this below. Okay. Visual effects state, specify how the material appearance should reflect window activity state in macOS. Must be used with the vibrancy properties. Possible values are follow window. The backdrop should automatically appear active when the window is active and inactive when not. This is the default. The backdrop should automatically appear active. So what is this about? Let's run the app and see if we can spot any difference between when I am drawing and now my window is active, and then I switch to Visual Studio Code and my window is not active, but the drawing looks exactly the same. So I don't know what this is about, and I probably don't care. Title bar style. Well, we don't have a title bar. We have a full screen app. And what happens when I go here to the top? It just shows the menu bar, but there is nothing here about a title bar, which is something like this title bar here. Style of the window title bar, the default is default. Possible values are hidden. Results in a hidden title bar and full size content window. Yet the title bar still has the standard window controls, traffic lights in the top left. Well, I guess this doesn't apply to the drawing area, but it does apply to this area with the menu. How do I want this to look? Do I want to have the native controls here? I probably don't want this to be resizable. I probably don't want this to be closable or even maximizable. Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. So I believe this will end up being a frameless window, maybe? I don't know, we'll see. But I know for sure that we want to do some work here. So maybe let's try some of these. Let's see what they look like. Let's see what hidden gives us. Okay. So I cannot drag and drop anymore. I guess it's the opposite of what I want. But I can still close it. So no, that's not good. Let's go to the next one. Hidden inset. Looks pretty much the same. What does the doc say? Results in a hidden title bar with an alternative look where the traffic light buttons are slightly more inset. I don't care. Custom buttons on hover. Results in a hidden title bar and a full-size content window. The traffic light buttons will display when being hovered over the top left of the window. This option is currently experimental. Yeah, none of these seem to get rid of the traffic lights, which I guess is what I want. I don't want the traffic lights. So traffic light position. Set a custom position for the traffic light buttons in a frameless window. No. Rounded corners. Whether frameless windows should have rounded corners in macOS. Yeah, I want the rounded corners on all the windows that I have. So, of course, the full screen window will not have rounded corners, but my menu will have rounded corners. Full screen window title deprecated. Shows the title in the title bar in full screen mode in macOS for hidden inset, blah, blah, blah. That is deprecated. I won't touch it. Thick frame. Use for frameless windows on Windows. Okay, we'll take care of this later. Vibrancy. Add a type of vibrancy effect to the window only in macOS. Can be appearance-based, blah, blah, blah. Full screen UI. What's all this about? Let's apply this to our drawing area. Vibrancy of full screen UI. What does that do? Should be a string, right? Okay, so well, it's opaque now, and it seems to have sort of a shadow, a vignette effect. No. What does this do? I'm just playing around. This one doesn't seem to do much. It still has that vignette around. Yeah, no. No, thanks. No vibrancy. And some of them have been removed. Whatever. Zoom to page width. Controls the behavior on macOS when option clicking the green spotlight button. Okay, so we will not have spotlight buttons. Yeah, we don't have those. We will not have those, so we don't need to play with this. Tabbing identifier. Tab group name allows opening the window as a native tab. No, I'm not tabbing stuff. Web preferences. So DevTools, node integration. We did have to enable this in a previous episode. Node integration in worker. We are not using workers. Node integration in subframes, we are not using those. Preload, we are not using that. Sandbox. If this is set, this will sandbox the renderer. I don't want a sandbox. I want the renderer to have full capabilities, but I don't think I have to do any extra work for this. Yeah, there is a tutorial about sandboxing. I'm not touching that. Enable remote module. We had to enable this. And I will learn about this in the future. Session. Sets the session. No, there is no session in our app. Partition. That has to do with sessions. Affinity. Zoom factor. JavaScript. Web security. It seems like most of this doesn't apply. Default font. Off-screen. Context isolation. I don't care about most of these. Okay, so maybe native window open will get rid of that weird full screen behavior. Let's see, let's just try this. Is this a boolean? So we can come here to web preferences and say true. Doesn't do much. Yeah, whatever. Maybe false. No. So coming back, let's get rid of these, and also let's get rid of this option here that we were playing around, but it doesn't do anything we like. Additional arguments, save, disable stuff, spell check. Okay, so we talked about the type before, and it said that we would need to look at the documentation below to see what this is about. So let's see what type is about. Possible values are, in macOS, desktop or textured. The texture type adds metal gradient appearance. The desktop type places the window at the desktop background level. Note that desktop window will not receive focus, keyboard, or mouse events, but you can use global shortcut to receive input sparingly. No. I want it to be the opposite, always on top. And then there are some events, and then there will be, so I guess here we can see everything in this documentation. So yeah, there is a lot in here, of course, because this is probably one of the most interesting and complex parts of Electron. So I believe we did some good stuff here, and let's see the changes. So we don't want to keep the tomato stuff. I'll get rid of the tomato. And I will, let's see here. So we removed the width and the height. We did some work here to find all the options we would care about. So we did some good progress. But let's stop with the Electron stuff and let's think about maybe stroke width. Let's do stroke width. It's something unrelated. So for that, we will need to go to the menu and add a new. So we'll have like maybe thin, medium, and thick. And these are not color events, they are stroke width events. I think that events tend to be camel cased, so stroke width. And then thin will be maybe 1 pixel, and medium will be 3, and then thick will be 5. Over here, so the way this works is we have two windows, the menu window, this one, and the drawing canvas, which is transparent now, this one. And these two need to communicate. When I change something here, it needs to percolate to this other window. So the way that this works is via interprocess communication. So what we are doing here is we are sending an event to the main process. We are sending an event from the menu to the main process. The main process needs to get this event and forward the event to the other window. Maybe there is a smarter way of doing this, but that's what we came up with last time, so that's what we are going to keep doing. So we have now the stroke width event, and I already don't like this repetition, but it is what it is. And now here on the drawing canvas, we can listen to the event of stroke width. And to begin with, we have to set some stroke width. So what do we do with this event below here? I was just copying and pasting stuff, but what we do is the SVG, the drawing is the SVG. The SVG has some data, and one of these pieces of data is the current color, the other one is the current stroke width. Current stroke width. We are creating that right now. And it will be 3. We'll start with medium. So when we are creating one stroke, we can say stroke width of drawing dataset stroke width, or better yet, current stroke width. So let's see if this works. So we start with a medium stroke and we change to thick and it gets thicker, and we change to thin and it gets thinner. So stroke width, we got that covered. It took us all of 3 minutes to do this. And that's why I wanted to have SVG as my backend, because everything is so easy to do with SVGs. All the things that we would probably care about is so easy to do with SVGs. So now I want to do something. I want to commit this. So let's see if all the changes make sense. Yeah, it looks good to me. There's something weird in this file. I cannot seem to format the file. You can see that prettier is complaining. So there's something wrong with the format. Let's find where this is happening. So maybe it's in the script tag. It is not. Maybe it is... Oh, it is right here. There is a div closing, but it was not opening. So I don't know what that was about, but this file doesn't have any problems, and this file doesn't have any problems, and those are only the 3 only files we have in our app. Okay, so I was able to use prettier now, and it did change some things. Okay. So now I want to do something that has to do with stroke width and stroke colors and everything. I want to have different tools. I want to have something that takes notes. So let me start the app and I can show you this. So I want to be able to just literally draw maybe a diagram. But I also want to be able to like highlight stuff. But now the thing is opaque. So I could have options for opacity, or I could have different tools like pen and marker. And I believe that having a pen and a marker makes more sense. So let's start that. So now let's start with the menu, why not? So now I guess I want a div because I will have some input type radio name tool value pen, and I'll put everything here in a label. Maybe I don't need a div around this after all. But I will have like pen and then pen. And then here I'll have marker. And I don't want to capitalize these things. So now let's start the app and we'll see some selection for tools. Pen and marker. And by default, oh, we should probably deal with all of these other ones the same way because these are radio buttons effectively. So let's take this out of the way for a moment and work on that. So now these are no longer buttons. I'll try to make this in bulk. I want them all to be labels. And I don't want this on click to be here. Let's do one of them. We cannot do them in bulk. So I'll do an input. I guess I'll do one of these effectively. And this will be the color. And this will be black. So Angelo says, hi Leandro. Hi Angelo. It's been a long time. I'm full of notifications from your channel since I activated all notifications from you. Thanks for activating notifications and for catching up with what I'm doing. So Angelo asks, are you doing Vanilla.js? Yes, I am doing Vanilla.js. No TypeScript, no React. I am using Electron to run my vanilla JavaScript, but I'm not using TypeScript. I am not using React. I'm just using Electron because that's what I need to do the desktop app, and it needs to be a desktop app, at least for now. We will take this project in different directions, maybe, and then it will be in the browser, maybe, but for now it's Electron. So type radio name color value black, and this is not gonna happen, so I am going to remove this for now and put it here in this temporary buffer. And let's see what this looks like. It should say black as an option, right? Oh, I am in the app. Okay, so now let's do the same for the other colors. How do I want to do this? Well, I want the thing to send an event. So I don't remember how to do this. Is this on change? Can I say alert hi to test this out? Okay, so I can listen to So Angelo says, I know nothing about Electron, only that it's cross-platform desktop with JavaScript. Yes, so Electron is something that allows me to write HTML, CSS, JavaScript, the kind of thing that I know how to write, and develop a desktop application. That's what we are doing now. And Angelo says, I'll check out part 1 to grasp a bit. I only do vanilla JS and React. Okay. Yeah, most of these will be familiar then. I mean, things like onChange, that's familiar. Alert, that's familiar. The only thing that is special about Electron is this little file right here where we say, I want to create a browser window. And then in the browser window is where the magic really happens. And all the drawing stuff is in SVG, familiar to you because you know HTML, and the handling of the buttons, all using pure HTML stuff. So on change, I will want to send that. Oh, and I don't want that. I don't want it that way. I want this to be on change. So now let's test this out. I will start the app. I can draw in black. I can switch to blue. Oh, yeah, I can. But then I can come back to black, and that works. Okay, so it's mostly a matter of presentation, I guess. They could be buttons. Let's think about this. I guess conceptually they are radios. They are multiple situations and you can only select one of them. In terms of presentation, I guess I can do wherever, so I guess I will go with semantics. Yeah, I will go with a radio button. And Captain Yolks, hi, says, you don't use dark mode? Does it not hurt your eyes? Well, it depends. During the night when everything is dark, I do use dark mode. When it is during the day, I do use light mode because trying to see stuff in dark mode is harder. In fact, dark mode is not better for the eyes as most people think, because dark mode emits less light, so your eye dilates, and then the letters become fuzzier and it's harder for you to read. But it's just one of those things. It's a matter of taste. It's for stylistic reasons. And if it makes you happy, then I don't really care. We can use dark mode. And there is another thing. If you are in dark mode, then many things do support dark mode, but many things do not. So you are here in dark mode and then you switch and then bam, it's like all light in your eyes. And you would have to ask everyone on the internet to make their apps dark mode enabled. So it's just one of those things. I use both light and dark mode. So yeah, where are we? Okay, we have a bunch of labels here that, yeah, I changed this one, so I guess I can change the other ones. Let's do black and maybe blue. Oh, okay, so I was using the value here. Oh, so how about a quick trick? Yeah, let's do a quick trick here and see if I can nail this. So here's what I'm gonna do. I will have a script at the end of this whole shenanigans. And by the way, why do I have a div here? Why is that the case? I don't think I need a div. I could just do this. Let the body be flex. All right. So how does this look? Bam. White flash, because I have not implemented dark mode. So dark, black. Oh, and I got rid of all the other colors, so I cannot test this anymore. But thin still works, whatever. But let's do a trick. So the name of the input will be the event that I send, and the value will be the value that I send. So let's make this work. Angelo says, as long as you are with your room lights on, your eyes won't hurt. Yeah. And looking at a screen in a dark room is bad for your eyes regardless of dark mode. Even if you have dark mode enabled, it will be bad for your eyes. So here is something. I would just listen to document on change, or maybe I will add event listener of change. And to begin with, I will just alert. I guess I need to get a hold of the event because I want the event target name. Then I expect to see something like color. Right, so let's start the app and click on this. And then I see color. All right, so here is our quick hack. We are just going to say the event name will be the target name and the value will be the event target value. And then we can get rid of this on change, and just by virtual having the right name and value, this will work. So let's do, can I do all of these in one line? Awesome. So now I can say like blue and red and green. Oh, I'll put this in order. So black and RGB. So red and green and blue. And then for the stroke width, I guess I'll copy one of those, take the color out, change it like that, and the value will be 1, and this will be thin. And now I change this to be 3 and 5, medium and thick. Awesome. And now this. Excellent. And I can get rid of all these nodes at this point. Oh no, the tool. So I want the tool to be. You know what? I'm going to commit this change because it's a refactoring, and then I will start the new feature. Okay, I like the changes. I don't need this line anymore, but I do like these changes, so I do like this line, so I guess I'll just make this, or whatever, I'll just get rid of these and start over because I have a different format here anyway. So this will be type radio name tool value pen, and then another one for marker. And here I will have to forward this event as well. So here I have not generalized things that way. So I'll have to forward the tool event. Oh, and I guess it would be nice for the first ones to be checked because they are the default ones. So here I can say, what do I have to say? Checked. Oh, and then it wraps. Oh, hate it. Captain Yoke says, how do you organize your website folders? As plain as I can. So check out the organization for this. Currently, everything is just in the root of the project. Typically, that's not the case. I'm still very much in the early stages of this project. I will probably have something like a source folder, but I avoid folders as much as I can. And yeah, same for all my websites, all my projects. I try to keep things as plain as possible. Okay, so this all looks good. But unfortunately, the tool is not doing anything. So here, let's get a hold of the tool. So to begin with, the tool is pen. And we get the event and we change the tool. And now we want to use the tool. So to use the tool, we will use it here. So let's do some opacity on the polyline. I don't remember how to do that. So I'll go SVG, polyline, opacity, stroke opacity. So let's try this out by saying the stroke opacity is a number between 0 and 1, so 0.5. And let's run the app, and we should see a line that is not 100% opaque, and it's not. Awesome. So now I will check, is my tool a pen? If so, the opacity is 1. Otherwise, I can be explicit or not. I guess I just say 0.5. So if I am using the pen, then I am fully opaque. Otherwise, I am a bit transparent. But that's not all. A marker is generally thicker. So I guess I will do this. I will have, if on the stroke width, I will have a multiplier. If I am using the marker, then I will multiply by 3. Otherwise, I will multiply by 1. And I guess I will do the same here. So if the marker will be the special case. So if the current tool is the marker, then I will say that I am in 0.5 for opacity. Let's see how that looks. So I'll start here with, oh yeah, so you see how dark mode is messy? Now a black line doesn't read all that well. Maybe in dark mode I would have a different default color, but I will switch back to light mode. So now I am in the pen, so it's fully opaque, and then I switch to the marker, and it should be a bit transparent and thicker. Okay. You know what I would like? First of all, these lines are crazy. It doesn't look smooth at all. So we need, if your cursor is very slow, you can see a lot of aliasing, which is not ideal. It's not the end of the world, but it's not ideal. The problem here is that the onMove event is triggering a lot of times with slightly different numbers, but not too different of numbers. So we will have to do some smoothing of these numbers so it doesn't get all jittery like that. But that's for another day. So we are talking here about pens and markers. You know what could be nice if the corners here were rounded and the end here was rounded as well. And I know that SVG is capable of doing that, so just don't remember how I need to do it. So SVG stroke cap, line cap, views and strokes in general. So I guess what I want is round. Let's go with the marker to make the effect more evident. And now the cap is round, and I like it better. How does a thick marker look like? Okay, this is very decent. I can see myself using this, yeah. So next, you can see that when there is an edge, for instance, when I move the cursor around, the edge is all weird like this. I think there is an SVG property for me to change that. Oop, almost lost the pen. I think there is an SVG property that I can play with for this. Fills and strokes, let's see. So there is the line cap, there is the stroke join. Let's do a round stroke join. And I'm hard coding these options. I don't think that these should be options given to the user. I am implementing, but I'm also designing the app, and I don't think I want the users to have to worry about this. I'm not doing a full drawing app. I'm doing more like a note-taking, explanation, whiteboard kind of thing. So let's see in the thick marker to really see what's going on. Oh, this is already a lot smoother. Even if I just move the mouse very slowly, not the mouse, the little pen, if I do it slowly, because the edges are rounded, it doesn't look that bad. And I can mark stuff. I'm getting very excited about this. Can I do it in red? Oh, this is so cool. Now let's take a pen that is medium in blue, and I will write. So yeah, it's still jagged because of the mouse events, and when I'm writing I am quick, so you can see this. So maybe by the end we will not want one of these polylines. See, I'm already using the app. Isn't that fun? So we'll probably not want one of these polylines. We will probably want a path that allows us to have more control and Bezier curves. Or maybe we will want a polyline, but we will want to, if the events are too far apart, we may want to fill in the middle by interpolating some values in there. So maybe if you have a line that reads like this, then and that's because you just moved very fast, then maybe we will want to add, so there are just 2 points, maybe we want to add a couple more points in the middle artificially in the polyline so that it looks better, or we will use some Bezier curves or whatever, I don't know. But for today, I think it is probably good to wrap this up. So let's see what we changed. We have the current tool. There's something that I really don't like about this, how we have to have these 2 different sources of truth. In fact, the sources of truth don't even agree, because I start here with a medium stroke, but in the menu, the value that is checked is the thin stroke. So I'll fix this manually for now, but I already don't like how there are 2 different stories being told here. So maybe ideally what we would have is just the menu would have all the checkboxes and whatnot, but when this needs the information about what tool you're using, what is your current color and whatnot, maybe this should go through the main process and query what is the state of the menu, and this would be the single source of truth. Yeah, we probably want to do it that way. We want to invert this control. So I don't like this, but for now it stays. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. I also don't like how we have all these events. So maybe if we invert, we will not have to forward all the data, so we'll not have that many events. Instead, we'll just have one event, which is like query this certain field, and then it will return the value, but it will be a single event. It will be a query kind of thing. Okay, so all these changes look cool to me. Okay, I am pushing what I have, and Thank you all for being here with me today. I see you all tomorrow at the same time, and I will be working on this as well. I will be continuing the Notestrator. I will probably do the inversion thing I just talked about, and just keep pushing. There is so much to do. There is distribution. There is more window management thing. We want to get rid of that thing on the top. We can make the app look better. I mean, the menu is just a bunch of radio buttons. We could make it look better. So there is a lot for us to do. We'll see what we want to do tomorrow. And yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting me on PayPal and on Patreon. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Have a good one. I see you tomorrow. Bye.